Oh, what I was going to tell you, lad, the chain, right? So for people who are just listening, I have like a really shiny
that's lovely.
Silver chain. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, like in Ireland, it makes it look like I sell gates or whatever. But I don't know. I think it looks cool now at this stage, but I didn't get the chain for myself. My mother got me the chain for Christmas. Now, this, I can't tell you how weird. Like, this is the first sign I think that she is losing her mind, like mentally, because this is an extremely conservative Catholic woman. She has no gaudy jewelry herself. She would see things like this generally as like uncouth and brash, and she wouldn't like it. Next thing, I come home for Christmas and she said, I've been into the jewelers, Mike, and I've got you a very nice chain. I was like, what on earth? Like, is she on some kind of medication? I was like, all right. So she brings me in to the jeweler anyway. And it's this outlet, you know, these old jewelers in Ireland, this lad who's like, you know, he's on death's door, a real coffin dodger.
All his money is made fucking putting batteries in watches.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And he's never even sold a bit of jewelry to a man. Like, like he looks a bit afraid of what's going on. He's a bit scared, like he's going to hell, right? And so my mother then, she's like, Jim, will you get the chain I picked out? And he's like, right. She comes out, brings out the chain, and my mother lifts up and she's like, there's a lovely weight to that, isn't there, Jim? And he doesn't even know what to say. He's like, yeah. So anyway, then she insists on putting the chain on me. Like, I don't even remember that scene out of Titanic where Al puts on the Rose of the Ocean or whatever on Rose and puts it on her, and like in front of a mirror my mother puts the chain on me, and she said, oh, that's very nice. Now that's very nice. And I was just embarrassed. The outlaws there as well, like I'm fucking 30 years old, like, you know, and I just kind of tried to put the chain in under my t-shirt. She's like, leave it out, what's the point in having it if you put it under your
leave
t-shirt? Leave it out, says she. Lad, you've no idea how out of character.
Are they after getting fucking Netflix or so? What's after happening here? There's something not right.
I don't know. I think it could be she liked normal people. I think something like that.
There you go. I can't believe your Owlad was there. And like, for people that don't know Mike, like Mike is fucking 6. You're 6 at least, if not 6'1".
6'6", nearly 6'2", lads.
Are you?
I'd say so.
That's a lot of fucking neck to be reaching up to. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say your old one isn't 6'2". You know what I mean?
No. She's generous. You'd be giving her 5'5", 5'6", I'd say.
So she's reaching up to your neck and looking around
she is. Yeah, and
a 30-year-old baby.
A 30-year-old baby, and it felt like a coronation of some kind. Like that I was being, you know, made the king of something. I don't know what.
I don't know, because I the fact that your Owlad was there, I expect him to step forward, shake your hand, and say,
lad,
tis all
Owlad
yours.
Was not there. My Owlad. Are you joking?
Oh, sorry. When you said Owlad, sorry, the Owlad that owned the place, right?
The Owlad that owned the place. No. I think if my father stepped into a jeweler, like, he would think that'd make him gay. Like, you know, like. That's not even a joke. I honestly think that's what.
It's fucking beautiful.
He would happen, and it's funny just on that point, because like, you know, my father now, there's Irish Owlads, and then there's my father. Like, so my father was born in 1953, but as my mother would say, he's from a generation before that. You know what I mean?
Like, okay, 1923.
Yeah, he's really kind of War of Independence times. He's real wind that shakes the barley vibe from him, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Still talks about like the neighbors that didn't go their way. Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, was he in a flying column by any chance, like himself, and going over the Wicklow Mountains himself and Dan Breen?
Yeah, you see him kind of sometimes. My father, he's out in the farm here, and he goes away somewhere, and you know you're off in a flying column in your head. You know what I mean? You're off carrying out Collins's orders there now at the minute. You know,
heaven forbid some poor English bastard walks into your fucking into your yard some evening. Like.
Well, I asked my father one day, just out of kind of, I suppose, a devilment on my part, but I was like, if someone did come in, Like I referenced, he loves John B. Keane, right? And
Of course,
he loves, and he thinks that's kind of like almost journalism. John B. Keane, like he thinks that, as in that's just absolutely true to life.
Yes.
Which it was at the time, But I said, if an American tried to take our land, would you kill him? And he said, I would kill him. And he said, and I think I'd be right to do it.
Yeah.
And part of me thinks he'd love the chance, like he'd love just to show everyone. He'd love for a Yank to come and just
bull rice.
Yeah, he really looks up to the bull, and he doesn't see because in the John B. Keane plays, right? If you pay attention to the play, Everton's gone to shit for the Bull McCabe. His son leaves. Yeah, Everton. His son leaves. He marries. He goes off with the Tinker's daughter. They're the words of the play. You can't cancel me for that.
Yeah.
Look at the play.
There you go.
Right?
Don't at him.
Yeah. So don't be coming at me or Tom for that. I don't know why they become that to you, but
they wouldn't come at me. Trust me.
They wouldn't. No,
the kind of people that listen to this podcast didn't even hear what you just said.
Right. So anyway, right. So the son goes off with a young one. The wife hasn't talked to the bull in 25 years. It's this utter misery, and everything around him, every relationship has gone to utter shite, and all that now would go completely over my father's head when he would watch the play, read the play, and he would just think that's the bull is right about land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the people down there are definitely that way inclined. Like my father would see like the most important, it's like land, then God, then sausages, or some it does, but family way down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you could, like, land is legacy. Land will always last beyond you. And let's be honest, I mean, if you could leave it to, so at least you have maintained it. That kind of way, like the bull and his fucking seaweed and his 2 acres, whatever he was pricking around with at the time. Like,
yeah, as they say, God made the world, but the Bull McCabe made that field.
Yeah. There you go. I love that the notion, but I absolutely get it. I've moved back to Tipshire. And
so I'd like to ask you this now. Because I wonder, is it that deep there? So my father believes in breeding, right? So, like, now he's not the first person to believe in this. There was Hitler and there's a few others, but
that's the first fellow you lined him up with, like, yeah.
He believes in a kind of a genetic superiority. So he believes deeply that if you're from land, you must marry and reproduce with a woman that's also from land, or the child is going to come out queer, is going to come out and they won't be able to drive a nail, and they're, you know what I mean? They'll be going into jewelers and whatnot. So
they become a fucking jeweler.
They become a jeweler, right? So he believes that. Now, he would always say that growing up. We kind of thought he was joking.
Yeah,
we thought it was a bit of a laugh. Ha ha ha. So anyway, my younger brother James was taking over the farm. And
is this rudimentary rice?
No, that's John. That's Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny's younger lad. He's an actor. So he's an actor, and he'd be a customer to jewelers, we'll say. Right. So he's gay, Tom.
I picked up on it. I picked up
on it. I thought it was subtle.
No wonder the poor old devil had to go out and be an actor. Like, Christ above. Where else is he going to hide?
Yeah, and sure, he's been pretending and, imagining his whole life, So anyway, the lad James was taking over the farm. So he starts going out with a one from the town.
Ooh.
And I don't know, but that's no good, because you see, my father has all this Rolodex of examples of times farmers have married ones from the town, and like every story ends in like suicide and like the farm burning down, and you know what I mean, people going mentally insane, and and he has, I swear to God, he must have 50 stories, you know, that nobody can verify who these people are.
Yeah.
The Hennessy's up the Tullabrine Mountain there, they're long gone now, but you know, they're gone because of this, you know. So anyway, he says to James, who's taking over the farm, you'll have to break up with her now or you won't be getting the farm.
Wow, that is some John B. Keane level Philadelphia. Here I come. He fucking Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not a musical. It's a play, a dark Irish play. So anyway, Sir James, you know, naturally would be like, oh, you can fuck off now and blah blah blah. You know, I can love who I want and whatever. And no. And he was waking up my mother in the middle of the night now for a long time, and he waking her up and just saying, just, you know, we need to cut this out. And you know, because he thinks because we were bred, so my mother's from farm and he's from farm, that we would come out just welding out of the vagina.
Of course, yeah.
Doing jobs.
Yeah.
And he never thought he actually had to teach us anything. He couldn't believe it when we weren't, that we didn't know what an Allen key was, just out of pure genetic instinct, you know. And as I'm saying this, I can see you're sitting in a shed of some sort here, unless this is like decorative.
No, I did build this, but I was out of necessity. But that's, you see, maybe he wiped your arse too much. Maybe he's to blame. And I go straight back now. Being a parent, I realized that, and I know nothing at all about children. So I'm finding it hilarious and very, very interesting, the development and some of the traits that come on genetically, like the raw boldness that's in him, like raw hilarity, zero fear of getting a clatter, like, because the idea he's like, I'll fucking take the clatter because I'll have fucking beaten you if you have to hit me, like, you know, that kind of way, like, but and it is very funny, but at the same time, but he is physically quite tough and strong and stuff. But I looking at it, I'm going, well, you have to hold yourself accountable for if you're going to start giving out about your child, because like, and that's what I've said. You can't be fucking blaming. You have to put a hammer in their hand. Like, sure, I had to learn it too. Like, you know, everybody had to, and I'm still only okay at it. But also, I went and studied civil engineering, worked on as a site engineer for fucking 9 years. I've picked up a few trades.
Yeah, two fucking tuxedos, Tom, if I remember.
I had two tuxedos, Mike. I did, but the thing, I think your owl is fucking harsh on it, and I know I've heard it a bunch of times myself. Oh, now, you're married. All she'll want now is to get rid of the land now, and she'll want to buy a big house up in the town and go on holidays every year, fucking 3 times a year. That's what she'd be going. You'd be like, so what if she does? Like, it's actually an easier, like, actually, you know how many million most farmers are sitting on right now? Land is so premium right now. Like, that would fucking set somebody up with a nice college education for their kids, private school, whatever they want. In fact, they'd probably have a really good life. But also, she may take to it like a duck to water. You know what I mean?
She may. Now, he would see that as a statistical improbability that would happen. And he would see it that if you were born certain way that you'd want to clean out calf houses and you'd find the joy in being covered in shite most of your life, you know. But so anyway, James breaks up with your one anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
In the end, but not over that. Like, it was, you know, like,
they're youngsters.
He probably stayed together a year, maybe a year longer. I don't know, because of just not folding to what my father was saying. But anyway, they broke up, and my father then took credit for this. He thought, now that was very well done on his behalf, you know.
Started calling Tig under his breath. Well done, come on, Tig.
Well, good lad, Tig. But this is the funny thing, Tom. I brought him and my mother, for Christmas one year. I was living up in Dublin, and I brought them to the John B. Keane play Sive.
Oh, right? Yes.
Now, Sive, if anyone doesn't know, the kind of gist of this play, Tommy Tiernan was in it. He was playing the matchmaker, Thomasine, in it. He was fucking brilliant. But basically, the gist of the play is that Sive is a young one, and her family want her to marry this old farmer who has a load of land, but he's about 70, like coffin dodger, you know, the flute wouldn't even be working, just nightmare. But she's in love with a fella from down the road, you know, one of the neighbors, a young lad. And anyway, the family interferes. They They ban her from seeing the young lad make her marry the old lad. Anyway, Sive kills herself down the bog, Tom.
Yeah.
This is what happens in the play. Clearly, the message is that to meddle in these affairs and to enforce this worldview is extremely damaging and fatal in some cases. And my father was just smiling from ear to ear the whole play. Like, he thought this was brilliant. And he turned to me at the end of the play and he was smiling and he said, "Isn't that very good now?"
Yeah.
And it's just like real life. And he said, remember when I made James break up with your one from the town? I said, yeah, but nobody's forgiven you for that yet.
Yeah.
You know, everyone still thinks you're a royal bollocks for that, you know. But in his head, it's his crowning achievement. Like, but sure, you know, that's his Waterloo.
It isn't just fathers either. A lot of, I can think of 3 different families, 2 here and 1 near where I lived, and whereas the mother wouldn't have a woman coming around the place, and sons end up then in their 60s, all piecing out the farm because they all end up going, we don't know what do we take, we don't know what to do, we haven't expanded our horizons in any way, and none of them have a woman between them, and they're getting no woman. Yeah, up halfway up the mountain in their 60s, like, you know, like misery. Yeah. After misery going, because again, the 3 families I can think of, it was the mother going, no woman will cross this door. And you're like, well, where do you see this farm going? Where do you see it going? You have in no way allowed a woman coming around here. She'd only want to change the place or come in here with a fancy job. And she wouldn't be dirty in her hands. And I remember hearing this one time, like, oh my God, trust me, if a woman came in with a fancy job, she'd be more than happy to keep her fancy job and probably bankroll this fucking place for a lot of the times when you're going to the fucking bank for an overdraft for 100 grand.
Lad, when my mother arrived, so my mother was a bed manager in Luke's Hospital in Kilkenny. And when she arrived in Greenridge, which is where I'm from, our farm home place, like, the farm was in shock and death. Like, it was her job that, like, paid back the loans that like got them out of the shitter. For so many years, our farm was only breaking even, and you know, this the outside job that was getting us through. But my father's mother was there, so she was living with us growing up till I was 16. My granny died, but she was in the house with us,
right?
And sure, so it was kind of like, it was just hell's bells, because my mother would be trying to discipline us and teach, you know, don't be watching telly all the time and this, that, and the other. And my granny would just be subtly undermining every little thing that my mother did. But we thought our granny was the best. We were like, my mother's a villain, and my granny be giving her sweets. Don't tell your mother. Everything she'd say, don't tell your mother. You know, it was a whole little fucking covert operation going on with us and granny. And then your mother won't like that. And then, you know, then my mother get upset with her, and then my granny be like, I shouldn't have said anything. Oh, I hope the Lord takes me tonight. I shouldn't have opened my mouth, you know.
And your mother bankrolling this fucking ship.
Oh,
holy
100%,
shit.
100%.
Oh my God.
But it was also like, it was a meeting of 2, because so my mother is from like a very like I wouldn't even say well-to-do family, but they're very just practical people. They're from a farming place called Ballyragget. You may remember the episode a few years ago. Ballyragget, some people call it. But do you remember there was like, they won at was it the under-21 a few years ago, or they won the intermediate county final and they got a stripper in, and there was a whole fucking there was the whole media storm there. But
your mother's family farm sounds to me like the kind of farm that actually made money.
Yes.
And ran like a business.
Ran like a business. Like they're very well mannered people. They're practical, they're religious people, and they kind of, you know, very even keeled, and they conduct themselves well in the society. And then on my father's side, there'd be a bit more emotional chaos, we'll say, going on. You know what I mean? Like the word business, he doesn't even think of money. It's all rooted in ideology of land, and like my father refers to himself as the Lord and Master in the third person. He eats raw sausages.
Does he? Because that takes a certain breed of. I remember seeing that at the Blowing Championship a couple of years ago. I talked with Colin Geddes about it, and Geddes was like, "Did I really see that?" Because I took a video of this fucking absolute barbarian pulling sausages out of his pocket at the ploughing championship. There's plenty. They're giving away free barbecue right across from here. And this guy brought his own sausage and he's just snapping them off like they're fucking sweet peas and just banging them in his mouth. And you're like, you are a fucking savage.
Yeah. Like the funny thing is I know for a fact my father would have been at the ploughing match.
It could have been your own man. It could have been.
There is a chance that it could have been my father. Now, to be fair, there is a band of them raw sausage eating around. Do you know, he has company, like they have a little fucking Reddit thread. You know, it's the truth, like, you know, he's not a fucking unicorn in the Irish countryside, like, but I walked in on him one day because it's just, if my mother's not around to cook him, like, he's just so bone lazy when it comes to cooking.
Eating out of a fucking tin of beans. My old man's the same. My mother was, she had to go for a consultation yesterday evening. And I called into him. I goes, are you all right for grub? Oh, it's grand. She made a heap of stew last night. So he knew how to turn out. But like, able-bodied, smart man. And he'd sit there and ate fucking dry bread. Yeah. You know, and he can make tea. That's about it.
Yeah, it's fairly amazing. Like, how far are they away from cavemen? Like, you know, like I've
joked about this, that my old man could have been born like 10,000 years ago, and Neolithic
cunt. Like,
not an awful lot would have. There wouldn't be an awful lot of difference in his day. Like, there really wouldn't. Like, in the grand scheme of things, there really wouldn't. If you stripped away the handful of things, maybe a chainsaw and maybe a fucking motorized vehicle. Yeah. And because he don't use the phone, he doesn't give a fuck about the telly, and he will eat fucking beans out of a can. Like, and just wanders around picking up sticks. You know, like, it wouldn't have affected him a lot. I think the jump from their generation to ours has been fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, but then I kind of, here's a weird thing. I see it kind of snapping back the other way, a small little bit. I'm kind of going, like, the young fella couldn't give a bollocks about. Now, I know he's only small, but at the same time, there's kind of traits where I'm going, and I'm talking with a producer friend of mine. His kids are like, he's twins, and they're 14 or 15. Yeah. And the woke people that he thought they were going to turn into, because they're going to a very fine school. It's in Scotland, a very fine school and everything. And he says, but what's hilarious is it just goes to show this crazy, hard, fucking wokish thing that seems to be going on with millennials or whatever, or maybe early 20-year-olds. It's not transferring at all. They're snapping back hard the other way to Realityville, where they're going, oh no, fuck that, sure, he was only having the crack. Yeah. And this is what's blowing his mind, because he thought he was going to have real kid glove stuff with his kids growing. And he says the more and more he's just realizing, oh, it's not the natural way to go. Kids will come back to what they can wrap their heads around. Like,
yeah, and people are always generations can often be a little bit rebellious to the generation in front of them.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So they'll see what's going on with the generation in front of them, and they'll be like, sure, these lads are only fucking idiots. Just like a few generations ago, or the woke people now, they looked at people who weren't woke and they were like, that's wrong, you know. But it's also like, people are so online, you know, like, at the minute, and there is a huge movement, even in your YouTube algorithm or whatever, you know, especially towards young men, that will feed you the anti-woke shit all day fucking long. You know?
Like your man Tate, what's like his name? Every time I open fucking any fucking social media platform, it's that guy. He's got a half American, half English accent, bald guy, Tate something or other, and he seems to be just giving out yards about how people aren't wealthy and how, you know, women are all bitches. You're like, okay, relax, phone. I know as a phone you think that this is what I want to see, but you're all right, grand. This fella's a fucking gowl of the highest order. I think you overshot with me. Trust me, I'm okay with women. They're fine.
Well, see, what's happening is that your phone, so they're listening to everything and they can see us even right now, I'm assuming. So they're having a look at that mustache and that mullet, and they're saying he hardly likes women. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. See, I'm doing it ironically, but then irony falls dead when it comes to fucking Google, doesn't it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and because and as well with the whole online world, irony I think falls a little dead because people choose to take things literally because it can support their narrative if they just take the words you said and take away the wink and the grin you had on your face to say you're only messing, you know, and then they can just have you saying a fucking fucked up thing. But people do that. They just take things fucking intentionally. They'll just, what can I take from this that can support my idea of who he is? You know, if they have a look at that, I'll head on you. You know,
sure, even prior to mustaches or mullets or anything like that, the bemusement on certain people's faces when I talk to them or whatever, and before we know it, I'm referencing like Lord of the Rings, and they go, "What the fuck? How? Hold on now. I've heard that you played sport, so how are you allowed to talk about like? No, you can do both. You can do both. I don't bang either drum, by the way. In fact, I bang no drum. I'm just Tom, and you decided to put me into the bracket that you could think of. Oh, he's the guy that I hated in school who played, or what? Oh, and that's the guy. Oh, yeah. Well, he can't even fucking read, and you're like, oh yeah, you have a more sheltered life than you fucking realize, son.
Well, so that's the funny thing is that.
Like you must get it. I know you're quite a philosophical comedian and fella and all the rest, but you must get it. I mean, somebody looks directly at you, you're like, he's tall, good looking, athletic, and was good at sports. And even comes from a fucking, like, if anybody just picked up on your surname immediately go, oh, and he comes from actually a heritage of good sport, and he's farmer. And, oh my God, everything about this guy is abs, and he's straight. What's that about? What is, oh no, and you're white as well, Mike. Get the fuck out. Fuck out of here. Tall, good looking, white and straight and funny. Get the fuck out of here, Mike.
No, you can feel it. Like you can feel
cool, I bet you can.
Immediately fucking hating you, especially if you've just got a nice haircut or anything, because they just associate you with, like, it's the truth. Like, you know, and I'd be even wary of that being on stage. I'm always like wary of what I'm wearing. Like, I don't want to look like, you know, if I went up wearing some kind of tight t-shirt or looking like I want to look good, I look like I'm, you know, into crypto, cocaine, certain red
all
pill.
Why all this shit, do you think? Why do you think I dressed up the window here with the silliness? Why do you think I did that? To take exactly that? Like, I knew a guy years ago, he was a fucking very, very smart comic, very highly intelligent guy. And I was only talking about him the other day, and it was funny. He just dipped out of comedy, and he knew he was done with it because he couldn't get the pull. And I never really discussed it with him. But the problem was he was astoundingly good looking and great hair and was jacked city, like fucking shredded. Like anything under, anything with even a marginal amount of fucking space in it that you should have had, you'd see a six pack. You're like, and he couldn't get out. He could never get off 50% with the audience. Couldn't get off that mark.
I wouldn't like him, Tom, if I saw him. I know I wouldn't.
You can't, because all of a sudden you're like, well, what has he got? What's he got to fucking tell us? And you're going, his stuff is hyper intelligent. Like, Jesus, it's good. But the poor bastard couldn't get at it.
Well, unfortunately for him, a huge part of this job is likability. Now, he's going on at an immediate disadvantage. Now, I do believe you can undercut that disadvantage almost immediately by just being an idiot. And, you know, being a clown and be willing to take the piss out of yourself and be self-depreciating or just being a bit odd or something. There's ways to fucking
you can totally negate it properly if you come at it. But he wasn't at comedy long enough, and he probably would have gotten there in the end after a few years. But the prospect, he was a very good prospect, unfortunately. Because he didn't have the staying power, or I suppose he didn't have the know-how or a coach to run around and go, put on a baggier jumper there, like, good man, let the hair grow out a small bit, will you? And then come on and just fucking lick the wall first, and then you're away. Do you know, like,
that just come on eating crayons. Come on eating a pack of fucking crayons.
You go.
You know, fucking whistling Kumbaya, and then go from there, you know. But you see, like, the thing is now, I'm lucky enough now. I'm happy now there now. You said I was good looking and stuff, but I'm not to a level that it's any way distracting. Like, you know what I mean?
You're not getting into a boy band. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
No.
yeah.
I'm just not. I'm not rotten looking. But I do have yellow crookedy teeth. I have bags under my. I generally look fucked because I am, and you know, and then I'm, you know, not mentally. I'm mentally.
You're an Irish eight by any standard.
Yeah.
But I mean, you go, you know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
go to a beautiful country, you know, like up into the Scandinavia, and at best, you're maybe a 5. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you're at. Because they're all 5. Fucking tall, Mike. You know what I mean? They're all good looking, like, so.
That's right. Yeah, but they are. I mean, the thing is, Irishness now does put you up a few points. Of course, it does. Everywhere. I suppose.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Because they assume we can make them happier than they are. You know what I mean? That is
that's it.
No, it is. That's. I swear to God, it's not even. I'm not. That's not being.
Because that's where you are now, isn't it? You're in. Because the last time I talked, you had been in Barcelona. And
so I've been in Barcelona, then I was in Berlin, and now I'm in London right now.
How was Berlin?
Lad, Berlin was fucking brilliant. Now, talk about, it'd be a great place to put 24-year-old Tom O'Mahony and just let him go foot to the floor, cracked. Now, talking about that, if we're talking about people's aesthetics and stuff like that, in Berlin, everyone looks like shit. I'm talking, yes, they look horrendous because there's a whole kind of movement there of this almost like desexualization, kind of almost feminist. So women are getting the worst hacking. They've haircuts like yours, like they're just, do you know what I mean?
That's rough.
It's not good, Tom. And they're hacking the heads off themselves. They're wearing baggy out clothes. You know, they have their eyeballs pierced and they're walking around, but they are accepted then there. You're not allowed into nightclubs if you look too good. You know, if you wore a nice shirt now. No, I swear to God. It's the truth. Yeah.
How do you agree? Imagine briefing your team of bouncers on the night, you know, maybe early in the evening. You're like, all right, lads, so we're kicking off about 9:30. We'll start letting doors in. But so you know yourself, lads. Any absolute rides, fuck them bastards. Like, men and women, if there's any rides show up to the door, just point them straight for fucking the canal. Because I'm honestly, we want beautiful mingers. That's what we want, guys. You know what I mean? And extra points if they're kind of good looking under, but they've really made an effort to look like a bag of shit. Because that's Jesus.
Yeah, they just want smelly, sweaty, chewing on your jaw, fucking. But people that you kind of know still are sexy, but they've just let it all go to hell in a handbasket.
Like third year students who have lost who are still getting a few pounds to stay alive, but haven't been home in 6 months. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
100%. And like if you walked in, you know, wearing a nappy saying, do you know what? I don't think the Nazis were that bad. You'd get straight in VIP, you know. They want odd cunts.
One second, Mike. I think there's actually a crow. 1 second. There's a crow. I swear to God, 1 second.
This must be the most Tom O'Mahony occurrence on a podcast. Hold on there now. We'll have to take a break. There's a crow at my door. And like the chances are also that like this isn't Tom's first time meeting this specific crow.
I'm so sorry. I'm glad you're here for this because I talked about this the other. I'm at war with a crow right now. I shot his brother who was stealing my eggs, and now the fucker. He knows every time I'm recording, he'll start he sits on the fucking watch ball, starts on the handle of the door, and just starts tapping. So I'm like, you motherfucker, Jesus Christ. Yeah. But, anyways, why? That must have been a shock to the system. You landed in Berlin, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, so there's that, but see, then the thing is, you can go around and you can look like, you know, a bag of fucking spiders, and then people will still ride you, like, you know, like you can everyone is just putting in no effort, but everyone's riding each other. Very, sexually liberal. I'd never seen anything like it now in my life now, and I happened to be single when I was over there. Now that's not to say I was like, you know, and I'm not even confident sexually, a raft of issues and stuff, but they're just like, you know, there's a depravity. There is just an underbelly of fucking sexual mayhem going on in that city.
What? I heard from, we both know the chap, but he was in Berlin and ended up in a sex club, and was just flat out wall to wall. The fact that there was one tells you everything.
There's three big sex clubs. So the sex club now, I didn't go into one. I was actually planning on going one night when John's plan was over visiting me. We were planning on going, but we were hanging out with these two ones, and one of them was Irish, and we were like, right, well, we go to the sex club, and she was like, I am not fucking going into some nude club to watch people, right? You know, and we were like, right, so, you know, just pissing on our parade royally. Maybe we're better off though that we didn't, because you have to go dress up, so you have to go to a shop and kind of get like assless chaps and leather. Like they won't let you in unless you look like a gimp, like, you know.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
Right. Because just imagine you turning up in the Wranglers. So, well, lads,
singing ring a rosy,
singing Hit the Div. Maybe that'd be somebody's kink. You turned up singing fucking Marty Moon songs.
Well, I wouldn't like that. Anything gets you going there, but I remember like one night anyway. So I was doing a gig, right, and after the gig, this German girl who she'd obviously been at a gig before, she came up to me, and she came up to me. I swear to God, she goes, hi. She's like, my name is Jenny, or I can't remember if it was Jenny or what it was, but she goes, she said, I wrote in my diary today that I was going to kiss you tonight. And I was like,
you have a diary. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I was like, all right, fair enough. And she was grand looking, like, you know, Berlin, so a bit mad. She had like a black trench coat, kind of, you know, seemed like, you know, she could have a weapon or something, but she was like fine, essentially. And then we were talking, and I told her I was going to be moving to London, and then she just concocts this whole story in her head, and she just starts going to me. She goes, "Oh, you're going to London to sign your big deal with Sony?" Yeah, I was like, "What? I didn't say that." She's like, "Oh, going to London, yeah, to work as a presenter for the BBC." Like she just was making this whole story in her head, and I was like,
Jesus
"Right,
Christ.
yeah." And then next thing, like, and we were in a circle like where other comedians were and stuff, and she was just lobbing the gob on me. You know, like just shifting me in front, but in front of everyone. And then I was kind of like, I'd be like, "Yes, would you?" Kind of half slapping her. Would you get it? Don't be
you're stone cold sober. It's like, fuck.
Well, I've had a drink maybe or two, but I'm not at that level. And you don't want to be just shifting ones in front of everyone, looking like an owl, slobbery, you know, like an owl,
like a divorce. One of two people will do that: 16-year-olds at a disco, or like a divorcee bloke in his fucking early 60s, mauling some poor Eastern European fucking young one who's after him for the few pounds for the farm.
Yeah,
that's
an incredible observation. That's absolutely right. It's 16-year-olds or it's old divorcee type people.
Yeah,
that'll just leather the heads off each other in public.
Both have no fucks at all to give at that stage, whether it's in the early part of your life or heading towards the fucking twilight. All the bit in the middle, you're like, I should keep my shit together somewhat here now, because there's more to live here. Like, and honestly, I'll have to live this shit down with the lads for the love of fuck.
Yeah. And you just know when you see someone do it, you're like, would you ever fucking?
Of course, that's the thing. This isn't one of those moments where we can go, oh, you know, let live and let live. No, that is genuinely straight up. Anybody looking at that would go, you're some fucking goat. Cut it out, the two of you, really. Like, you're making us all feel fucking weird. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, where is it going to end up? Is it a hand job in front of everybody here? Are we all going to commentate on it? Like, or do we pretend it's not happening? Like,
that's see, Tom, this is where it was all headed. So she then, I was like, yeah, stop that now. And she was like, you're ashamed of me in front of your friends. I said, I don't even know who you are. And she's like, but when you get to London and sign your big deal with Sony, you will be. And I'm like, what are you even on about, this deal with Sony? Where are you concocting this out of? Right. So then next thing, right, we go down to the park with like a group of us, right? There's a group of us go down to the park and we got like a bottle or two out of the off license. And we're sitting around in this little circle. Next thing, she's just like a little sucky calf at me fucking ear. You know, like, and I'm like, would you go way out? And you know the way you put your hand in the calf's mouth to kind of
just sandpaper.
Yeah, just like trying to put the hand in her mouth, like, would you know what I mean? Try to wean her away.
Dipping your hand in a bit of milk just to get You'd have right to put her onto your tit altogether, Mike. Just leave her there for the rest of the evening.
So anyway, so we're there. And I've like friends of mine are sitting around, like an Irish comedian, Rob Moriarty, a few other people are sitting around. I'm like, would you lie down there now and stop that? And she's like, Sony. I'm like, God, right. So she's there. And next thing, right, she puts her hand on my chest. We're just sitting on the thing, pushes me downwards and just hops on top of me. Now, everyone is still sitting around here. She gets on top of me, right? Now, at this stage, it sounds like I might need to report something to the police. But so she hops on top of me anyway, and she's blah, blah, blah. By the time we come up, everyone has gone except for two people, this Venezuelan fella and his lady, and they're just watching, and they'd be that kind of type as well.
Yeah.
You know, so they're happy out. But so anyway, next thing, they end up going off, you know, and this is a park, so it's at night, but there's people still around the park, right? Yeah. But she ends up then, she's just on top of me, and she just starts giving me the hop in the park, right? Now, at this stage, it's kind of the man in you, you're like, it's exciting, but it's also terrifying. And you're also like, what's going on?
Are you riding? Like, is this you're riding?
Yeah.
But surely, bit of Jesus now, you can't play pure innocent. Like, you didn't turn up there fucking naked, like.
No. I wasn't playing pure innocent, but I just kind of let the whole, she took kind of control the whole thing.
Okay, right. Yeah.
And I, you know, listen, I'm only a man of flesh and blood as well, you know.
Just with that fucking chain hanging around your neck, you could see why she was after you. That's this is like fucking perfect. What was that fucking show? Fuck.
But anyway, whatever. It ended anyway. But the whole thing was like, to be honest, it was I kind of got taken away with the madness. And as it was happening, she was still going on about your big deal with Sony. Like, I was like, I was like, is this a dream? Is this, am I hallucinating this? You know,
sounds weird. This sounds like, to the point that you just sat up out of the bed and went, wait, and I'll tell you what I dreamt about last night. And this would all fit in, like, because none of this is computing at all with me. Like,
I know, lad. It was just like, this is the story I tell anyone when they ask about the kind of carry on in this city. Like, you know, there is just a wild, reckless, almost a dreamlike quality to the place and what goes on there and what people believe there and what behavior is acceptable. But then at the same time, everyone waits at the traffic lights for the green man to come, even if there's no car 2 miles either way. So they'll be there wearing a nappy, chewing at their, you know, the side of their mouth, and they'll wait at the traffic lights patiently for the green man. It's
I think because I've been in Germany a few times and I've gotten senses of that kind of stuff, like different parts of Europe I've been to, and you end up in these nightclubs even, you're like, oh, there's a secret room, right. But I think sometimes, like, everything is generational. I think there's a hard snapback, obviously, from them trying to seem very outgoing, and they've ended up, rather than just being easygoing with everything, they've ended up going, let's be hard sex demons, but at the same time be very, very, very studious when it comes to traffic, because we're not crazy people. Like, go lads, one or the other, or meet it somewhere in the middle. Like, Jesus Christ almighty, like, I'm going to kiss you. Like she wrote that. A fully grown woman wrote that down in her diary, like she was projecting to the universe.
That's right.
And she showed up, and poor old Mike was like, "Huh? Oh, sure. Now we're in the park riding. How did it? What?" Yeah. But no, like, I mean, to the other one. I mean, the double kind of standard of it. Like, I mean, had you swap roles there, we're not in any way laughing at this. We're going, no, Mike. We need to get you. We need to get you some counseling, like, because this is not right. We need to
get you counseling. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and to be honest, my personality is passive in a way, as in like if there's out kind of madness or wild stuff going on, I just go along with it. And a lot of times it's as well, being a comedian, I say yes to a lot of dicey things so that I will get material. Yes. And the story, and I justify that to myself as to why I will go foot to the floor with a lot of queer hawks, you know, offering this, that, and the other, you know. And it you know it as comedian. It does give you a tendency to follow the bizarre and the wild a bit more, or it incentivizes it even a little bit. Particularly if you're a storytelling type of comedian, you know.
Have you found anything to coincide that since you moved to London, or was it a big shock to the system going, "Oh, nobody's riding in the park here, are they?" Or what's no? I'll say nothing. Just forget I even said it.
Yeah, and I want to stress here now that I don't want to make myself sound like an obnoxious kind of Lothario type. Like, I'm useless. Like,
no, trust me, that came across like a fella who was kind of coerced into being. You didn't go riding in the park. You got ridden in the park by the sounds of things.
I did. I got royal, and when it ended, I just couldn't stop laughing. I in the knots. Like, I felt like the Joker. So I just couldn't. I was crying laughing because it was just the sheer and. Just the oddity of the situation was like actually hysterical. I was all in hysterics. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I pointed out on stage the other night a thing that happened. Not just like that, but the oddity of us as comedians, how we revel in the brilliant fucking weirdness of a moment. I walked into the venue. I was down in Cork. I was doing Collins, they call it, but walked in, cool pub, everybody's sitting, it's a very cool pub, and then the venue is fucking beautiful sight, but literally walked in great form, and I'm a lot to take on board when you look directly at me immediately, like, and I'm walking in there wearing some fucking, you know, shirt from, you know, rodeo shirt or whatever.
To digest, Tom.
It's a lot when you look up, and I swear to God, this old one didn't even try and hide it. The pure Cork, like, just didn't even try and hide it. Just maybe in her early 70s, having a drink with her husband. She'll just look and she went, "Oh, here we go. Fuck's sake." And then anybody else would be fucking devastated. I fucking loved it. I walked on past and roared and laughing. It was the open line walking on stage. I went, the brute, natural, ignorant pig that woman was. Like I loved when would you get that? Like, at least 99% of society would whisper under their breath or wait till you're gone and go, "The fuck was that?" Nearly, you know, but she said it directly at me 4 feet away as I'm walking past, and she went, "Fuck yeah, this is another."
But, and she literally handed you a gift on the way to the stage.
Yeah,
you know?
I opened with it fucking crushed.
Yeah,
I opened with it.
And now you're off to the races.
Oh,
you're in the room, you're commenting on something that just happened. Brilliant.
It was beautiful. It was fucking beautiful. And it was, I didn't even think I'll pack that away now for opening. It just went into my head and made me happy. But I didn't know why. But clearly the other part of my brain, the working part of my brain that was getting ready for the show, went, "This is what we'll open with now.
We'll grab that."
Yeah, we'll grab that.
We'll grab that. That's so funny. But like, also the implication when she's saying that, as if like that you've come in to just, you know, start pissing on the side of the wall, or like they've come in to start trying to eat the stools or something, like, just, "Oh, look at the head and him. Here we go now." Like, it's
like
just
a bunch of football hooligans just walked in, like, you know what I mean? I'm literally going past all you motherfuckers to the venue that go look at the fucking wall right there. There's a picture of me. But she's not looking at no wall. She's just looking, going, oh. She'd look at this fucker ruining the eternal perfect balance that we have in here. And this guy's just walking in like he's fucking John Wayne. What the fuck is this about? But I loved it. I just
because do you know what it is? And it's something I love in life so much. And when I haven't gotten it for a while, I feel a longing for it. It's a surreality. It's almost surreal. It's like when someone does something or you're in a situation, and it's when you know you're about to get some material or like something that's going to spark something in you creatively, because it's just like, did you really say that?
Yeah.
Like the oddity and because it feels dreamlike that someone would actually look at you and just say, take one look at your fucking owl head. Now, like you said, it is a lot to take in. It's kind of face you need a chaser with, like a visual chaser, like when you see Tom, the mustache, the mullet. But I love that. I love people like that who just truly have no way of calibrating themselves or no way of, it's essentially no filter, but they have no second gear. And I like them in a way because I always feel comfortable around people like that, because
she wasn't lying to me in that moment. That was the thing. She definitely wasn't lying to me. I mean, she wasn't being particularly pleasant, but she it's like there's an innocence. I used to do this. I did this thing one time with Dean Rock, the football player. And Dean was I think he was kind of events or he have organized kind of fundraising and stuff like that for it wasn't St. Raphael's, I can't remember, but there were a lot of special needs folks, and they wanted to act out, and we were going to film it professionally. The whole lot was miniature versions of well-known movies. So we did like Rocky, and we did a couple more like Sister Act, and there are people of varying levels of ability and stuff like that. But it was powerful crack because the happiness coming from these people was fucking raw from the core. But and that's what we're getting, and it was all happy. And I'll never forget this chap. We're doing the read-through, right? So it's a very simplistic. It tells the story of Sister Act, and he's playing the Monsignor, this chap, and he's maybe late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. About your height, but I'd say he'd have 4 stone of power on you, no problem. Right. Strong looking man.
I don't like hearing that. Don't like hearing that, but yeah, go on.
He reads his 2 or 3 lines, because that's all it is. These things are to be over and done in like 7-8 minutes, and he reads them anyway, and he's sitting there fuming. And 99.9% of society would I go, any questions at the end, and maybe there might be 1 or 2. Is everybody happy? And everybody go, yeah, I am, yeah. That would be it. And you go home and go, oh, fuck's sake, you know what I mean? It's not a great role. I love this guy turned around to me and he went, or stood up straight. He went, I'm not a bit fucking happy about this. And I was what's up? It's fuck all lines from me, sure. Well, 3 fucking lines and that. I can do fucking better than that. What's this? What's going to happen? Like, what are you doing for me? And I mean, he started to actually make a go for me. I was like, I'm going to have to blow out a fucking knee on this fucker or something big. And I can't do it. He's of special needs. I can't, what the fuck? I can't be seen to fucking, because I can't take this on guy band power wise. No way. I'm going to have to take the knee. I'm going to have to just blow the knee out and then break for the door, or put fucking Dean Rock in front of me between him, because
I'll throw Rock in.
And in fairness, like I was like, well, no, you're absolutely. I just wanted this, and Rock got in there early because he's one of the few lads that will go ball, like he will go for you, like, and he's unfortunately he knows his size and power. Like I would not be able to contain him.
He's like an old bull that's gone bad.
Yeah.
You know.
But then once he got 1 extra line, he was over the fucking moon with it. Like, and genuinely,
so it was a negotiation. It was a negotiation tool.
But it wasn't like, hey Tom, sorry, could I talk to you afterwards?
The art of the deal.
There was no kind of talk with you afterwards. It was just straight out in front of everybody. When I went, is everybody happy? Your man just shut up and went, absolutely not. I'm not 1 bit fucking happy. But there was something absolutely beautiful about he'd learned nothing from society where we're supposed to hide our emotions just for the, you know, the betterment of the group. Nah, fuck this.
See, like there's people like that it's just, like that. There's the wildness and just inability to just do anything but be themselves and just react in the way they feel right now. I'm fucking angry. I'm going to let you show. There's no second voice that's like, right, you're not, you have 3 lines and that's, look, you'd like a few more lines, but listen, if you get these 3 lines right, maybe you get more the next time. Just fucking this childish, you know, have not developed emotionally, have not done one bit of introspection their whole life.
No.
What they fucking think comes out. I'm hungry. I'm sad. I want more lines. I'm horny. Suck me up. You know, just their whole life is just boom, 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 you know, like a fucking Michael Bay movie, you know. But there's something to them, like, because when you come here now with the English, right? So I'm in London, like at the minute now, and here a few months, and talk about like the opposite of Berlin. So say everyone in Berlin now just looks like, you know, they're portable boiled shites going around and they're licking piss off the walls and, you know, having a great time. You know, then in London, you start feeling like a fucking poor piece of shit. Because I came from Berlin to London. So I had a big scraggly head in me, you know, I'd been eating nothing but kebabs for 4 months and, you know, had started paying attention to traffic rules and stuff as well. There was good, the culture had affected me in positive ways as well. But then you're here for like a month and you start to think, Jesus Christ, I'm some rotten old devil. Look at my clothes, I fucking stink.
It's all showing. It's all showing. Yeah.
I'm only an old dairy farmer from Kilkenny. What do I think I'm doing over here with these people? And suddenly you just find yourself in the gym. Like you're in the fucking gym.
Jesus.
You're drinking water. You're going, no, I swear to God, I've been in the gym now. Yeah. I went, I said, I need to get better clothes. Now I am completely succumbing to the pressures of the environment, but the place makes you just naturally feel like
Isn't that funny, like
over here.
Like you know, over nature and nurture, like you have actually, you're in it right now. Like you're going, oh Jesus Christ, before you know it, you're gonna be spending 200 quid on a pair of jeans.
Well, Tom, 6 months from now, I am going to be a dyed-in-wool cunt. I'm going to be just unrecognizable flute. I'm going to have a little monocle, little fisherman's hat on.
The fisherman's hat. If I see another bollocks wearing and the rolled up jeans and they're going at the bottom and they're going around like they're fucking wannabe fucking trawler fucking, and you know, soft hands on them. Like I hope at least you're still rubbing the hands on a bit of fucking stone wall or something just to keep a bit of roughness in it. Like.
Lad, sometimes just to kind of keep myself to keep myself match fit in term like agriculturally, because I know I have to return home. I will just kind of as if it's like a pony. I'll rub an old stone wall, just to get the palms of my hands to put a bit of manners on them, just to let them know this isn't the real world. Sainsbury's is not the real world, you know. And you just fucking rub the stone. But lad, the thing is, because you were talking about that raw cunt like at the reading, you know. Like the cowards, I mean, like London, I think every coward worldwide flocks here. Like they're the flimsiest individuals I've ever come across in my life. Like if
watery, would you describe them as watery?
Watery kite men, the wind would blow them away, you know, like just like in every way, they've just no metal. You know, and they're like, I'm really polite, you know, you're all right, Mike. You know, just
you'll go away and be in a fucking bad mood, you can't. Go away and fucking bollock somebody out of it. Jesus, them half-human fuckers, like,
But it's a politeness, and this is the English all over, you know, it's a passive-aggressive politeness. So what they could do is, like, you could be on a bus or something, and they'd shove you. They'd shove you, and then they go, oh, sorry about that, mate. And it's like, and that's like what they're like, you know, they take over India, and then they're like, oh, we're so sorry. It's like, you're not sorry. You're not sorry about anything. You're the most devious fucking ethnicity, race of people that have ever walked on the earth. You fucking started slavery. You invented racism. You fucking burnt people alive in fucking Ireland. I'm thinking I've been reading about Cromwell lately, so I'm fired up.
Oh, Jesus.
And you know, and then you do this. I was so sorry. It's like, shut up. Stop this fucking facade of we're nice. You know, it's like we all have history books. Not to blame people for their ancestors, but you know what I mean. It's like, shut up. Anyway, this will show you then the cowardice, right? This is how I know, like, if the Russians get to London, like, say, like, if the Ukrainians say are just so fucking brave and badass, and even the younger people, this is how cowardly people in London are. I was on the Underground the other day, the train, and a wasp got on the train. A wasp.
I love the way you say "got on." Like
the wasp bought a ticket, and this wasn't a freeloading wasp. This is a
bowler hat on.
Yeah, little bowler hat. The wasp got on the train, and lads, the place fucking fell apart. I'm talking like people. This was like their fucking Waterloo, like, you know, like they just couldn't, you know, they were like people were like, literally, these are like men, they're with women, and they're just, oh no, not my lord, you know. There was like lads literally trying to hand the wasp their wallets, like they're like, take it, you know, I'll suck your cock, I'll suck your wasp cock, please, you know, like just
in front of your missus, like, can you imagine
in that? Front,
oh Lord, saves
lad. I think honestly, this war, or like, if war now in my head, like, look, we're probably not going to end up in war, but it had me thinking about that a lot. You know, particularly when it started, is just like a lot of these men that women have went for are peacetime men, you know.
Yeah.
Like, these are like, you know, men, it's like, oh, we care about each other's feelings, and we're going and we're meditating, and we, you know, I meditate, I do these things. Don't make me sound like I'm fucking macho man Randy Savage here, but they're just like, if it comes to the fucking pedal to the metal, shit or bust, these lads are gonna, you know, get you killed, essentially. But the wasp is on, the place is going fucking nuts, and there was a Middle Eastern guy on the train, back of the train, and the wasp flies back to the back of the train. I swear to God, he fucking caught the wasp.
Yeah.
He caught the wasp in his hand, right? And he looked around at everyone, like, in disgust, and everyone was kind of like, oh, he's our leader, you know, like. And he looks around at everyone, and then just fucking re-released the wasp back into the train.
Good man.
Yeah,
because that's what they fucking deserve.
Well, I think he realized he had more in common with the wasp than he did. You know,
is that, you're 100% right? What a fucking moment! Like, going, bye.
But sure, he knew if these little fucking yellow bellies weren't afraid of the wasp, they'd be afraid of him. You know, he knew that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And I mean, I there's a reason why most of England and Britain don't like London people too. Like, you know, you meet somebody from fucking normal folk from out somewhere, you know, like fucking Bristol or whatever. They go, would I live in London? Like, you know what I mean? Or even you meet rural English people, and they're closer to us than anything. You're like, oh, would you go away and fuck off? Like, before you catch me near that place, like, because that's where you go to fucking just die internally. Like, well,
yeah, it's a mad place. I mean, it's kind of like, even, lad, I've never been around, like, in my life, the level of wealth.
Oh Jesus. Yeah.
Like, it's just a different fucking ball game. Like, I was on, like, I was on a date, and see, I have a bit of a chip on my shoulder, probably, towards money and wealth and things. I studied commerce in UCD, and was in with a lot of D4 lads, and I did find them to be like cartoonish bollockses. Like, I would say, and I know it's an easy stereotype, but I would say honestly 9 out of 10 are cunts.
Yeah.
From Dublin 4. And I know, and that's it. I know that's a shocking thing, but I'm allowing, and that's being kind, giving 9 out of 10, even the 10%. Like, I honestly think that's me, like, being very Christian. But like, about it, that's, you know, that's my upbringing coming out. But so, like, I just have a little, and it might be my own insecurity, because, like, you know, we didn't have much money growing up, and stuff like that. Now saying that, we didn't have much money, but my father could be covered in slurry head to toe, and he still thinks he's better than everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because we're as he would say, old landed decency, and he refers to himself in the third person as Lord and Master of the house. I mean, look, he's out and now, but to say, I know I do be talking about my father a lot. I love my father so much. Funniest man alive, one of the best characters you ever meet in your life.
But a raw motherfucker, like.
But just raw as shit, just. But I wouldn't want to be from anywhere else. But like I was on, well, this just the other day, I was on I was on a date with this one, right? And now this one happened to be American, but I was chatting with her anyway. And to be honest, the way I even got to date with her was another story. Like she'd kind of proven herself now. She was a bit, I don't know if you'd say the most trustworthy or just a bit fucking ruthless. But anyway, she was ruthless. Like she was, like in a way that's like, and has this like a confidence that could only be born of extreme wealth.
Yes.
So there's just an essence. You can just feel something off people. So I says to her on the date, right? And I said, are you a millionaire or something? And she was like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, right, fucking hell. I said, how much? You know, and I know this is just me being an old slug and nosy little bastard, but I was like, how much? And she's like, oh no. And I was like, 50 million. And she was like, higher, right? I was like, I goes 100 million. And she was like, higher. I was like 150. She's like, around that. I was like, that's your family's money. She's like, no, that's me personally, right? She's 26 years of age, Tom.
What?
26. Yeah, I swear to fuck. Yes. I couldn't, Tom. You're acting like your mind's blown. My mind was fucking blown. I'll tell you what blew my mind even more. I had just paid for the first 2 rounds espresso martinis.
No fucking bother to her.
I swear
that's why
to God.
she have it. That's why she have it, Michael Rice.
Of course, that's why she has it, lad. She's a like Republican, Trump supporter, fucking like, you know, poor people. They chose to be poor, you know. Like,
I'll tell you something. Your father would have no fucking bother if you landed home at her.
No,
is she from land? No, she's worth 150 million. Oh, Jesus Christ. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. No wonder your mother's buying you fucking fast, flashy chains. She's trying to put you out there front and center.
This is it. This is
like
fate.
It's like you making your debut, your fucking Elizabethan fucking debutante. You just get brought in to meet these wealthy women. Your mother puts a chain on you, like the Lord Mayor of fucking Kilkenny. That's who you are.
Lord Mayor, sweet fuck all is what I am. But so she tells me this, and now like this stage, I'm like,
I don't know. Your mic, has your mic plugged in or plugged out for some reason? Just give it an out tap there.
Here, let me do something. Wait now, and you'll be able to do this later. So what I have to do sometimes is plug it in and out, because sometimes it
overheating.
Does that sound okay now?
Yeah, you're back on track. You're back on track.
Sorry, I hope that didn't fuck up too much. It goes a little crinkly for some reason. But so anyway, she tells me she has this much money now, and now I'm nearly kind of like, I'm just playing it cool as if like, that's right. Yeah. My head, I'm like, sweet mother of God. Now I had paid, like I said, I paid for these espresso martinis. We're down in Soho in London.
Oh, fuck.
And be honest to God, like, you know, when I was looking at the fucking bill of the yoke, I was like, I probably won't be able to visit home now till, you know, like, for I thinking out in my head, you know, it's about 10% of my net worth, I would say I paid for them. And so anyway, I said to her, like, listen, you're paying for everything else now tonight, right? That's it. And she was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't even give a fuck. You that much money now. I don't care about what the fucking etiquette is or the thing. You could buy the place that we're sitting in. And also, like for your round, I don't even want, like, drink isn't going to cover it. Like, it has to be comparable. Like, for your round, like, I want my mother to be able to retire. You know, like, you know, like, there has to be a fucking, like, and I didn't even feel like bad about it, like, because it's like, you know, like that, like, you know, like probably global warming is probably mostly her father's fault.
Oh,
Like,
for
you know,
sure. Yeah.
like the same card she'd be paying for me is the one that like paid Epstein's assassin. You know, like fuck her. But to be fair to her, she did. She paid for the rest of it. And you know, as someone coming from where I came from, like, you know, covered in shit most of my life. Now I'm with across from this one, like, and I just like, sure, I didn't pull out. You know what I mean?
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah.
Leave it in there.
I was just like, this is my one shot. This is my only chance to be able to buy my father another farm, like, and then get that hug I've been after. You know, like.
Jesus Christ! I think we just wrote your new show in that. What a beautiful way to wrap it. I know you probably have you gigs this evening?
I do have gigs this evening. Oh Jesus, we're on there. Well, see, I didn't.
I'm only after copping it myself. Fucking hell, we're here over an hour. So
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't even fucking. I didn't cop at all, that lad. Jesus, that's one of the fastest hours that ever flew. Yeah, no, we have roommates coming over. We have another person moving into the house here, so we're kind of interviewing a couple of people. They're coming over at 6, and then I have a gig then later on. Yeah,
I'd leave the chain out too if I were you, just for the crack. Just leave it out for the interviews, like just.
Yeah, leave it out. Let them know that they're not dealing with some flute.
So
they are dealing with a flute.
Yeah, they are, of course. So, you're two flutes talking flute talk here, for fuck's sake. Tell me this, Edinburgh. What's coming? Are you Edinburgh this year?
Yeah, lad. I'm doing 2 shows. I'm doing two different hours at Edinburgh this year. Like now,
that's a hungry fucker. If anybody's wondering there now, yes, that is a hard-working artist, but at the same time, a fair hungry cunt. That is now.
Yeah, like that is it's a stupid thing I'm doing.
Not at all. Yeah. Oh, you will be dead by the end of it. Like.
Yeah. So I'm doing it so that, like, because I have one like show. I'll say, when I say show, it's just stand up. Yeah. Like good stand up. That's like 45, 50 minutes. And then the second show is kind of like a mixture of stuff that's not fully right yet and newer stories. And I just want by the end of it that's something I can tour around, because I've been like doing like tours and different shows around Europe the last year, and I want to be able to bring back something new. Yes. You know, and that's the crack with that. So to use one of the shows as just like to fucking gain a lot of new material, and then the other show to be like one that you can fucking hopefully knock out of the park, you know.
Class. And when is you hoping to just immediately after August you're going to have a bunch of places lined up around the place? Are you coming back to Ireland?
Yeah, well, so yeah, I will be coming back to Ireland. I'm going to America for 2 weeks after, just to kind of on I suppose kind of a holiday, but really doing shows and stuff.
Just see where Joanna's originally from, is it? Just
I know she's from Newport Beach. It's like,
oh, for fuck's sake.
Wing.
Yeah, say no more. Say no more.
But anyway, please God, she doesn't listen to this.
There's no Tremor. That's what we'll do. I'll put it out. There's no fucking Tremor.
More of a court town.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be touring around Europe then after that, and a few different things lined up. But yeah, I'll try. I'm back in Ireland next week. I'm back for a wedding, and I'll be doing the.
Wait, what dates are you back?
I'm back from. So I'm back the month. So the 2nd. So from like the 30th of May to the end of the week. But
you're hardly free on the 4th, are you? It's probably the night of the wedding, is it?
I know that's the 2nd is night of wedding, but the 4th I'm in Dublin.
Bollocks.
Yeah, I'm doing
my show Clattered is in Tipperary. You'd be ideal to fucking bring with me. Tis sold out in Cloheen. And there's a gang of lads. Would you believe there's a couple of wild savages coming from Kilkenny?
Is there?
Yeah. Lads message me, their Patreons and stuff like that. They message me going, yeah, fuck going to Dublin, fuck going to Cork. We'll come and see you in fucking the back end of fucking Tip, because we know it to be raw, and you want to see this place for raw. Like I watched a 40, I'd say he must have been 35, 40 stone, the size it is human. Like if it was in Dublin or London, probably even London, it would be the numbers, God knows how many, but you would fit 80 people into this room, Mike. In Cloheen in County Tipperary, you'd fit 110 in Dublin. That's the size of the men that were like, I'm not codding you, the size of the men inside in this room. One man, I watched him. I was there a couple of weeks ago with Bernard Casey, and Bernard was up hosting before I went up, and I watched a fella beside me drink 7 pints in an hour. And he was only getting, by all accounts, that's the engine only warming up. And you're like, fucking Christ. And boys coming in, and they're only just after kicking off the Weltons. There's a bit of fucking barbed wire cuts all over their hands, big, and the handshakes afterwards, and just humans. Like, yeah. But the beautiful thing was, go back to the rawness, and you, like, I maybe we might be able to get you set up with a fucking date there. Like, the rawness of these people. Yeah. I didn't bother setting up no mic, no fucking nothing. No, fuck that. I wanted to fucking not. We have a stage, all right. They built me a stage and stuff, but that's it. We're going fucking absolute raw, because these people have no concept of, prior to us doing that gig a couple of weeks ago, of stand-up comedy. In the same way, they've no concept of how astronauts come about. They don't. That was literally, that's verbatim what a fella said to me. He goes, I never
touching your face to see if you're real, and
never once considered. But sure, why would they? Like, these are hard-working blue collar people of the country, like, who work 60-hour weeks, and while they may or may not have the money to go to Dublin, they don't have the time to go see you in a city. They literally don't have the time. They've quitting time on Saturdays, fucking 5 o'clock. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, and they'll be probably back at it again either Sunday, but fucking early Monday. You know, that kind of way. So it's like
they would view us in a disrespectful way, almost all in an alien way, but rightly so. Like, the way they live, we are complete and utter fucking, chancers. Bluffers. Just fucking, all smoke and mirrors, just gossip and trickery, fucking,
there was a few looking at me afterwards.
We're fucking crooks.
They enjoyed themselves, but you could see them looking at me going, you got inside my soul there, and I'm not a bit fucking happy about that. Get out of my head. Do you know? But in saying that, she put it on sale 3 days later, and it's 2 nights sold out in 2 days. Like, so it's like, all right.
Savage though, lad.
Unbelievable. I rang her up about 2 weeks in going, you haven't asked me for anything, like, really in the way of poster, do you need more video footage? Why? That's sold out. But which one? Oh, both of them.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
How many people?
So it's 80. It's just 80. But I mean, that's the capacity
80
of
a night.
80 a night. Like, yeah. And
lad, that's fucking
at the rate it is, I'd say we could have put on a third fucking night. Like, and this is a village heading nowhere.
But is this from the podcast and stuff and other bits?
No, not really. They saw I did a headline set for Bernard. Bernard is doing this rural Irish pub tour.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, you're nearby and this will be right up your street. Would you pop over? Went over, did it. And then there was she was kind of twanging the chat of people. And she went, you should come back another time. And literally people obviously drank that night and were in drinking the next day, went, get your man back if you can. That was literally it. They don't give a fuck what new show. I could bring the oldest stuff in the fucking, doesn't matter. Just bring your man back, will you? And we'll jump on board. And what's actually happened since then is a bunch of little theatres spinning off that, and a couple other gigs I've done that you'd never hear of. Ones that only have maybe 150 capacity in villages, but everybody fucking goes to it. So a few more, and I'm going to let this grow organically and see what fucking happens now. And just see, because you'll get no better publicity than people who have been see the show, who are the mouthpieces of the area going, we need to bring it to our village. And that's literally what's after happening. There's 2 or 3 more dates now after popping up in places that I've never been to, that are, that people are fucking championing it.
Killing a Scully, like, that's all I'm thinking.
And it's great. It's like, happy fucking days. It's the organic nature of it. It's like, oh, none of you have nothing. You have nothing to compare me to. You have no aspirations, nothing in the way of this world. Like,
but I don't know. There's a few comics that I suppose have done that, like, at extensive level of tour, and I think Tommy Delamere, a few, like, where they go to the small, proper small villages and towns. But these people want shit to go to, like, Like, and you would fucking, like, in these rural Ireland places, like, you fucking take the roof off. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be selling out like a fucking 100 of these places if you could get the reach. It's just, how do you fucking communicate
the reach? Well, I mean, do you have tens of thousands to spend on publicity? Because that's the difference. Bottom line, you can get a good comedian, bad comedian, doesn't make a fucking difference. If you don't have publicists behind you, forget about it. That's the reality. Or you've done something that just went hyper viral and you were able to back it up. You know what I mean? But that's unfortunately the fucking reality behind it. But this, I'm actually, for the kind of wanky artist in me, I'm loving the organics of this. Nobody knows. Nobody needs to know. It didn't even go on sale. She put her phone number up on Facebook, and people rang her, booked him, and they called in.
Like the dial-up phone, just people.
Literally, she said, she's WhatsApp me or ring me, and I'll put your name down, but be in to have it paid within the week. And that was it. I love it. Class. There was no fucking Eventbrite's taking a cut. Nobody's taking a cut. Yeah. Nothing. It's just the most organic fucking way you can do it. And I was like, you know what? I'd spoil it by setting up a big old microphone and all the rest. I'll just go up there, bang out an hour. Fucking.
You're like an old traveling Shanachie from back in the day. Like,
yeah. They don't know what's coming. They don't. You know what I mean? They have no idea what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? They're not going, oh, hope he best.
You'll be in. You'll be gone. It'll be like it never happened. Yeah. Like, as in, you know, like, just.
Oh, I'll bolt. Like. Out the fucking door, because even the last day now I wanted to fucking break, and our lads were trying to stop me to tell me jokes from sites, and you're like, but I must look, leave the fucking magic there, like, you know what I mean, be gone.
There'd be lads trying to introduce you to their daughters and trying to have a, why didn't you wear the red dress, Marion? I told you to wear the, for fuck's sake, your man not going to, you know, like, just
your mother buying you a chain and everything, would you wear it outside your dress altogether?
Yeah, I remember doing gigs down in Cora Clare, in the back, like just the back arts beyonds, in the west of Clare years ago. Myself, Danny Ryan, Mick Perrell, and this a lady named Frances Kennedy is her name, but she's she's not stand up, she's a storyteller. She's like it's a Shanachie style thing that does go on in some of these real rural places. But it was fucking mad, but they were so delighted to have had us there, and afterwards it was this real community feel thing, because no one ever goes down there, and it was beautiful. One of my really great memories of doing stand-up. Now when I was on stage, I did just crowd work and just, sure, your man never pays his bill, and everyone's like, They love it.
Oh, there has to be a bit of that. There has to be a bit of that. Like, I know for a fact, my new show, it'll be 60% maybe, but the reality is, there'll be 40% crowd work and dicking about with local stuff and things like that. You mentioned the fucking hurling team. You're after the fucking races, like, you know. That's right.
Yeah, you have to do, because let's be honest, like you said, they're working 60 hours a week. They don't want to hear about your feelings, really.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They do not.
And you know what? I don't fucking blame them.
No, the fucking people are just about surviving. They're just about hanging on. Absolutely. And the last thing they need now is to be fucking brought into deep waters of your fucking psyche. Fuck that.
That's when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I'd say they'd throw a chair at you. I'll diagnose you with something else.
Which part of your fucking personality felt that, you prick?
Yeah.
Mike, right. I'm gonna let you interview this person. Everybody, the best place to follow you to keep up to date anyway of gigs and when you come home to gig next.
Yeah, at Mike Rice Comedy. If you have Instagram, Mike Rice Comedy on Facebook, the Mike Rice Show podcast. I've only been doing it on Patreon, but I recently did a mini series of interviewing artists from Kilkenny. So a 3-part of like artists that are from my hometown. Me and my friend did it, which. Check that out. I'm really proud of those episodes.
I'll put that in the show notes, so the link to your Patreon, because that'd be well worth getting after.
Yeah, do please, Tom. And lad, I fucking enjoyed that no end now. I haven't laughed that hard in a while.
The fucking chain, but
Yeah. I'm a fucking idiot.
I'm going to say the neck on you wearing a chain, literally and figuratively, like the fucking neck on you to be wearing a chain.
I know, yeah. It's but my mother
and
bought it.
You knew full well you were coming on here with me.
I did.
I love that you're like, what way will Tom accept this now?
Well,
or did you know going, this will be 20 minutes of chat?
No, I had to give myself a pep talk now before I come on. And I just like, look, he's not going to like it, but you can't just keep changing yourself for everyone, for Tom or for anyone else. Or every time you meet a real man, you can't take the chain off. Like, you have to just, I know Tom hunts and stuff, but you have to just, be yourself. Be yourself, Mike. I was saying this to myself in the mirror like a fucking looter.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Right, lads. Tom, brilliant.
You've been a diamond.